Shalom, everyone. This week's Torah portion is Va'era, which means in Hebrew, and I redeemed myself. It is found in Exodus chapter 6. God reveals himself to Moses, and he tells him these four expressions of redemption that he wants Moses to go down with his brother Aaron to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and tell them to let the Jewish people go so that they can serve me. This is in the name of God. But when God is talking to Moses, he uses four expressions of redemption. And these expressions is something that we refer to every single year on the Passover Seder. And every time we actually remember Egypt, we remember the Exodus of Egypt every single day in the morning prayers. So the four expressions are: take them out of Egypt, redeem them from their enslavement in Egypt, deliver them, and I will acquire them as a people on Mount Sinai, and then bring them to the land of their patriarchs, just as I promised. So these are the four expressions of deliverance from God. Now, Moses and his brother Aaron go to Pharaoh and they ask that Pharaoh lets the Jewish people go. And Pharaoh is not interested. So Aaron performs a miracle. He takes his stick, his staff, and he throws it on the ground, and it turns into a snake. So Pharaoh says, what's the big deal? He looks at his advisors, his magicians. They throw their staffs on the floor, and then their staffs too turn into snakes. But Aaron's staff, which turned into a snake, ate up their staffs. In any event, Moses and Pharaoh leave. The first of the 10 plagues occurs, which is all of the water in Egypt turning into blood. And the way God wanted Moses to make this plague happen was that he should hit the Nile River, and it would turn into blood. The Nile River was the place that Pharaoh took a bath every morning because he told people that he was a god and he didn't need to use the restroom. So early in the morning, before people would wake up, he would go to the Nile River and he would use the restroom. So that is where God wanted the plague of blood to start from. But Moses did not hit the Nile River to show gratitude because he was saved through the waters of the Nile River when he was floating on a basket. So Aaron struck the waters. Then we have the second plague, the plague of the frogs. Frogs were everywhere, even to the extent that the rabbis tell us the frogs had self-sacrifice to go into the ovens, to go into the dirtiest and most disgusting of places, even to die, because that was the commandment of God, to go everywhere in Egypt. We have the third plague, the lice. All human beings, all animals infested with lice. We have the fourth plague, wild beast, just storm the land of Egypt. Then we have the fifth plague. All of the domesticated animals of Egypt died, like the cows and the sheep, etc. Then we have a sixth plague, that the Egyptian people were inflicted with terrible boils. They couldn't sit, they couldn't stand. Tremendous pain. And then we have the seventh plague, which was a ball of fire and ice combined together, which is two opposites, coming down from the heavens and just literally destroying everything. The crops, the houses, the vehicles, and whatever they had. But still, at the end of all of this, Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he was not interested in budging to let the people go to serve God. So that's the end of this week's Torah portion. We have 7 of the 10 famous plagues of Egypt until the Jews made the Exodus. Now, what's a lesson we can learn from these plagues? Because these plagues were inflicting the Egyptians in order that they should let the Jews go from slavery. And this is miracles that God performed. But there's lessons that we can learn from every single one of these plagues. Lessons we can learn in our service to God and our service as we service other people around us, as well as ourselves. So we'll start with the first plague, the plague of blood, turning water into blood. Water represents the life force of Egypt, giving all of the life to the crops. The water in Egypt was also an idol. They served the Nile River. So when they took the water and it was transformed into blood, blood represents passion. Blood represents something which is life, alive. So what does that have to do with our day-to-day lives? See, many times we find ourselves in a situation that we're very cold, we're very indifferent to something, like water. But we're able to take that water and turn it into blood, turn it into passion. That instead of looking at the world, what's in it for me, how can I take the water to water my plants and get what I desire, we can take a little bit of that and say, you know what? Let's turn it into blood. Let's turn it into a source of life that I can help people, that I can be passionate about doing the right thing. So that's a lesson we learned from the first plague. And we will discuss throughout the coming videos different lessons we can learn from all different aspects of the weekly Torah portion and all of the Torah teachings in general. Thank you for watching. The Rebel Rabbi. Have a wonderful week. Shalom.